George Whitefield was one of the most formative influences in early America because he preached to almost everybody in the entire North American colonies. In fact, the total attendance of his open-air meetings throughout North America exceeded the total population of the colonies. So many people must have heard him more than once. And people came from far and wide, and frequently his attendance would exceed the population of the town in which he's in. So many people would come in from surrounding areas to hear him. George Whitefield was a great, powerful preacher, and he is a Puritan preacher. He was Calvinist. He was a man who had a great vision of victory. He proclaimed the Lordship of Christ in all areas of life. He laid the foundations for the late American War of Independence when the North American colonists would assert their independence from Great Britain. In large order due to the teachings and the principles and the Reformation doctrine proclaimed by George Whitefield. Interestingly enough, George Whitefield had a very close relationship with Benjamin Franklin, who was not known as a believer. Although George Whitefield was published frequently by Benjamin Franklin being, aside from being an inventor and many other things, he was also a publisher. And as a printer, he published many of the sermons of George Whitefield, which even further extended his influence. And he even supported some of his evangelistic and missionary endeavors, saying, you're producing the kind of people we need as citizens of this country, which is quite extraordinary. And then remember that when the Continental Congress was in great confusion and division, Benjamin Franklin, who wasn't known as a believer, he is more of a rationalist, he stood up and he suggested that they get to prayer, because this problem could not be solved in argument. And one wonders about the influence between George Whitefield, this fiery evangelist, and Benjamin Franklin, who really was on the other side when you think of it at that stage. In one sense, you could say a publicist needs news and characters to report on, and George Whitefield provided that. But I think it went beyond mere economics, that a revivalist needs a publisher and a publisher needs news. There was more than that, and you can see some of the results that even a Benjamin Franklin man of a personal faith in Christ, he accepted a lot of the biblical worldview, which you can see in many of the decisions of the Continental Congress.